Hey, if you're using Outlaw as the IDE or integrated development environment for this course, let me give you a quick run through of how to get it up and running. If you've gotten this far, then that means you were able to install it okay, which is cool. And I'm going to go ahead and click this little thing over here and this little thing over here just to get rid of these two side, the bottom and the side thing here. And then I'm going to click Preferences because we have to set up the Corona SDK simulator location. So I'm going to hit the Browse button, and it should be, if you installed it in the normal place that it typically installs, it'll be in Applications, and then there should be a folder called Corona SDK, and you're looking for this right here, Corona Simulator, so just select that and then click Open, and it'll fill this in. And if you're on Windows, it's pretty much the same way. Your path is going to be a little different and things like that, but if you're used to installing things on Windows, then you should be able to find the Corona SDK simulator. Okay, it'll be in your like programs and then down underneath that. So once that is done, click OK, and we are good to go there. So let's say that you want to grab one of the source files or the sample projects from Udemy, and we're going to go ahead and go right in here. And so over on, as soon as this thing refreshes here, okay, under the Materials tab, there is Game Dev 03 Display Animate. And I'm going to go ahead and download that sample code. I'm going to go ahead and hide Safari. If you're on a Mac, there should be, right down here next to the trash can, there should be something called Downloads. And if you click that, it'll kind of expand, and you can see that this is already unpacked, unzipped, ready to go. If you're on Windows, wherever your downloads normally show up, that's where you're going to find this. So once it has been, it might come down as a zip file, and so in that case you have to unzip it on a Mac. Just double-click the zip file. On Windows, I believe that you right-click on it and then do an extract from the menu that pops up. But once you have this folder, we're going to, and there's the folder right there. Let me back out of this, downloads. Okay, so it's right there. We'll come back to that in a moment. Right over here, let's go and in Outlaw do new group, and we'll call this Game Dev Course. Or if you're doing the Biz App course, you can call it Biz App Course or something like that. And it's going to show up here. And actually, I'll tell you something right now. In a few minutes, these things are going to shuffle around because they're supposed to stay in alphabetical order. But since this is brand new, it just pops down to the bottom. And once there's something in it, it'll pop back up to the top. Anyway, you'll see it. So inside of Game Dev Course, we're going to put that folder that we just downloaded. So this is the folder that has the sample code in it. Let me change this because most people have their display that looks like this. So I'm going to take this folder and I'm just going to drag it over here and drop it on top of this Game Dev Course. You see now everything's switched to go alphabetical again, and you can see that down inside Game Dev Course is the sample that we just downloaded. And if you double click on main.lua, it'll open up here. I'm going to go ahead and try this by hitting the launch button, and we can see what it's going to do. Alright, so it does something, and I'm going to go ahead and stop that right now because you shouldn't be jumping ahead of this. Now, if you're wanting to follow along with the code as I write it, you don't want to actually have all of this stuff in here. This is all the stuff I'm going to be putting in. So go back to where you downloaded it, go inside that, and just right-click on main.lua and choose Duplicate. If you're on Windows, you can do a copy and paste, just so that you have a copy of it that is pristine, so you can go back to it and check against it later. Then go in here and just delete most of the stuff here. So you'll see from the very first video where I start typing, and I think it's right about this here. I already have this stuff in there. So go ahead and delete it because you already have a copy of it, right? And save it, and that way you can follow along with the video and type in all the stuff here. And one more quick thing, if you're wanting to just try some stuff on your own, let's say you want to put it inside of My Projects, just create a new project, and it's going to be called my first test. And the default device, let's say it's an iPhone 4, and you can put it in group My Projects. Check this box, and then we're going to find a location for it. I'm going to put it in Documents and a new folder called My First Test. And you are all set to go. Now there's some other things you can do here, but if you just go with the defaults, click OK. And now if we go check here inside of My Projects, we'll see there's My First Test. And it has source files all ready for you to start. Now main.lua is completely empty. Config.lua and build.settings has stuff in it, and we're not going to go into that right now. Basically, you're just going to be using the default values that are in those. So here in main now, this is where you could actually start typing in code, Lua and Corona SDK library code, things like that, right in here. And when you're ready to test it, you save, hit launch, and it will launch the simulator. And let's zoom out here so we can see this one, and you can see it. And so that should get you started. There's a way that you can create a blank program to do some testing with. And there's a way that you can get the sample code into Outlaw so that you can start messing around with that also.